Howdy out there, everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing David Lynch's Mulholland Drive, the Criterion Blu-ray release, which is one of their best. As I've mentioned previously with some of the other reviews I've done, David Lynch is just one of my favorite filmmakers. He has just done a terrific job with films such as The Straight Story, Blue Velvet, Twin Peaks, the Twin Peaks show. He's a true auteur in the grandest sense. He's one of the most brilliant, surreal filmmakers out there. And even though I've often said that, Blue Velvet could perhaps be his best representation, sort of from a narrow point of view of who David is as a filmmaker, I think that Mulholland Drive really shows the evolution and the maturity of his work. He really came into his own. Now, this film, though, it does have a much more challenging narrative, one that you cannot just sit and watch one time and truly understand. I remember seeing this in theaters about a month and a half after 9/11. It came out, and obviously there was a collective sense of unease and dread that arguably has never really gone away ever since, but certainly muted. But there was a real palpable sense of just melancholia that fall, rightly so. And I remember seeing this movie and being really just crushed by it. It was, even though I didn't quite understand the narrative, I knew that it was essentially a film about a ingenue or a debutante who was trying to get to Hollywood and make it as an actress, and boy did it go sideways for her. But upon subsequent viewings, what I have learned about this film is that it in fact does make good narrative sense. It's just you have to definitely watch it several times and sort of piece it together. And there are some real scholarly videos out there on YouTube of film nuts who have unpacked this movie to a incredible level of precision, and I think for the most part they seem to be right on. I think one should try to unpack it themselves, but it is kind of fun to see what others have to say about the film. It's a movie that warrants a robust discussion after viewing. So, but as you can see here, this is the Criterion release, and I think it's one of their best releases. They've now issued this on 4K HDR Blu-ray, and this is just the standard Blu-ray, but the actual film itself that they restored for this release is the same movie. It's just that the 4K HDR disc, of course, has a much larger disc to put the film on, and as such, they don't have to compress it down as much as they do on this 1080p. But honestly, I played this thing on my 4K television, and it looks terrific. I mean, absolutely terrific. I think it's one of the best looking movies I have on my shelf, and this Criterion release is just it's lovely. It's got all kinds of very interesting essays and sort of production notes on the film, and then the supplemental features are also quite good, showing some really interesting behind the scenes footage of the filming of the movie. So I could go on, but I think in many ways this is a movie that's just best left to be watched, and then for the viewer to sort of come to their own conclusions about what they're getting out of it. So on that note, please do take care, everyone, and do yourself a favor. If you've never watched Mulholland Drive, watch it and be prepared to have your head explode. It's truly a wild ride, and just absolutely beautiful to look at, and hauntingly impactful. I do think it's certainly warranted. The kudos that it's received over the years is absolutely warranted. And even though I tend to say Blue Velvet is Lynch's best film from a simplicity standpoint, there's no denying that Mulholland Drive is probably his most accomplished feature film. Thanks, everyone.